All right, we're live. Thanks, Nick, for joining.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. So Nick, you're with Absolute Sunblock out of Georgia. Yeah. Is it? Are you near Atlanta? You're in Marietta, Georgia, is it?
Yes, sir. Outskirts of Atlanta, about 20 minutes away from Atlanta in Marietta.
All right. And your company does flat glass, residential, commercial, government,
Yep, that's it. Just anything flat,
no automotive.
none whatsoever.
Cool. And how did you get into window film? When did you get started? Take us back to the beginning
It
of the.
was it was approximately 6.5 years ago. I seen it at my brother's house, and it was a family get together. We went to his house. And I seen that one section of his windows in his living room where he had 20-foot ceilings. They were much darker than the other area. And I said, "Why are these windows darker, man? What's going on?" And he said, "These actually got tinted." I looked at my father and I said, "I never knew there was such a thing." And I looked at my dad and I also let him know that one day I'm going to make this a business. And started off with just $200 and a lot of heartaches, a lot of sleepless nights, a lot of research. And, every day we live and learn. I never stop learning. During my free time, I always read up about new technology, new films, and more benefits and research about films. So I can pass that information over to customers. The more educated you are, the better it is.
What film brand do you use?
Global.
Cool. And where do you mentioned, like, obviously the more knowledge you can gain, the more you can pass along to your customers. That's, I think, like, spot on. I'm curious, like, where do you find the best sources of, like, gaining that knowledge? Is it like through your global rep? Is it through like Facebook groups? Like, where do you think you
So
pick up
I
the
would say
most good stuff?
I would say Facebook groups, articles, anything from any kind of magazines, anything possibly that you can research. A good friend of mine is Google. That's where I get a lot of information from.
Okay, and that's the best one. Anytime you hear a question that could be answered perfectly in Google, you just go, like, that's the place to do it. Something I actually want to point out that is different, I think, about your company than maybe anyone I've really spoken to is, like you said earlier, you're flat glass, no automotive, but also you're pursuing franchising your business, selling franchises of your business to other operators that would run a franchise, be a franchisee of your company.
Yes, sir. That is correct. Right now, we have two corporate locations, one franchise unit sold. I'm also set to establish one more corporate location this year and headed for two more next year. One in Buckhead, one in Alpharetta. I've got one in Canton, one in Marietta, and I'm looking to also do Milton, Georgia. High dollar areas where they have the money to spend.
What's your vision with the franchise?
To find nicks out there, people that want to work for themselves, want to live a comfortable life, but also love the business. You got to love the business so it can love you back. You just can't do it strictly for the money. If there's no love for it, when I wake up in the morning, I think about windows. Um, Make sure everything is good with the family and I'm straight. My mind's going, let me check my emails. Let me try to close some more deals. And that's bright and early in the morning. Of course, I would want to find more people like that. I understand not all your fingers are the same size. Not all people are the same. But as long as I find more people like that, so I can be more successful.
So, passion for the industry, passion for your own business, essentially, is kind of a prerequisite. But as far as, like, because I agree, if you don't have a passion for owning your own business, and if you don't have a passion for the actual industry you're in, it probably is not going to work out too well for anybody in any
Mhm.
industry. As
No.
far as Absolute
I
Sunblock
had to
as
actually decline people because they wanted to be passive. 100% passive. And this isn't a business where you're passive. A lot of people to close deals, people are amazed when the owner comes out. I also, when I get services done for my home and the owner comes out, it gives me a different outlook towards the business that this guy actually cares and wants to close deals. And you can leverage to close a deal with the consumer because it's just you and them. Of course, don't go too low, you'll go out of business. But prices in our industry fluctuate.
so as far as Absolute Sunblock as a franchise, if somebody's saying, wow, this seems interesting, I'd like to own a flat glass. Maybe they do automotive now and they want to add a flat glass, and this could be an option. What would you say, like, what would one expect being an absolute sunblock franchise versus what maybe someone typically thinks of, like owning, someone owns their own company, they have a name, they get a film, they go out, they do quotes, they market themselves and so on. Instead, they could become like go through you, get a franchise of absolute sunblock. What comes with that?
What comes with it? The experience, the knowledge, the mistakes that you might make as a business owner that we've all made. Business is like climbing the ladder. You don't want to take steps down the ladder. You want to keep moving up. We've perfected a business model where it's very simplified. Honestly, it works from your phone. If you have a phone, you're in business. From that aspect of being able to operate the business, no paper whatsoever. We don't use any kind of paper documents. Everything's done via email. Very simplified process, easy to duplicate, and at most important, it's home based. We minimize expenses to maximize profits. I also teach the franchisees how to market their own company. They don't need to pay SEO companies. The most important part of marketing is Google. If you can figure Google out, you can master the game. Facebook, I look at Facebook, it's more for brand recognition. Facebook is great for brand recognition when it comes to paying ads and pushing them out there just to get people's knowledge about window film and teach them about it. But when people search for services, they search on Google because that's what's on their phone. They talk to their phone, they say, residential window tinting near me. And if you know how to rank on Google, that's how you pop up. If you have your own business and you've been running it and you're paying an SEO company, I mean, eventually they'll get you to the first page, hopefully. But how much money are you going to spend to get there? Give you a prime example. I just opened up Canton 2.5 months ago, already in the top three.
Sure, I totally agree with you as far as like leads. That's the place to be. There's not really too big of a reason to go fishing elsewhere. If you can go really deep, cast a wide net on Google, that can be, I feel like, as much as anyone could ever use. Not to say there's not advantages on other sites, but Google would be my number one too. So, okay, so experience, knowing the ropes, not having to make your own mistakes over again. Like people don't have to make their mistakes and learn the ropes. They get kind of a fast track through Absolute Sunblock as well as the marketing. So you get the experience of the business, the marketing of the business. What's left for the owner is essentially to operate the business. Yeah.
It's a proven model. It's proven success. We're just not selling you a concept. Here locally in Atlanta, this guy's been doing it 30 something years, still out ranking them online when it comes to Google. So you're also getting not a concept again, you're getting a proven business that is successful and that continues to be successful.
So what?
Now, the Google algorithm changes out. It always changes out. But as long as you do your research and you keep on it, you keep on top of the game, you can keep capitalizing. And again, as much time as you put into your business, that's, I believe, what Kevin O'Leary said. If you love your business, it's going to love you back. And you love your business enough and you give it enough love and effort, and you want to be able to distinguish yourself from the competition. Appearance is important, presentation is important, and knowledge. You got to have that. Knowledge is only gained through you wanting to learn. You have to want to learn. I can only hand you operation manual and train you and tell you how to do it. But if you don't want to put the time and the effort into it, I don't know how anyone can be successful without putting effort and time into anything.
Sure. No, 100%. Um, what would one expect as far as like, you mentioned some franchises that you have in the works. If I was located, let's say, in Alabama, it's kind of close to
Mhm.
Georgia, I say, Nick, I'd like to do a franchise with you. Um, and obviously the numbers are going to depend on the specific city and how I operate it and so on. But if you're talking generally or broadly, what would one expect based on what you've accomplished? So you're saying like this is a proven model, not just the marketing, but the business as a whole. As a first, like a franchisee, what would one expect that business to look like? What would it afford them? What would the gross numbers? If you can just get in a range of an idea.
I mean, it's kind of telling. It's kind of like telling me how fast can you run if you haven't seen me run. The business can make money, it can capitalize, but how hungry is the business owner? That's a major factor. How hungry does he want to close deals? Does he want to make 5,000 a week, or does he want to make 10,000 a week?
So
That's
let's talk average best case scenario and average middle ground scenario. So we can get like
I
a,
mean,
hey, I'm kind of a maybe not the biggest hustler in the world, and then let's say, what about the biggest hustler?
to give you an example, I've got a project that I've bidded on. They want to move forward. It's in Mississippi. It's a 8-story sky rise and it's got gold windows. They want to make it look more modern. That project is at 449,000. Take
So
out all your expenses, it's left with 200,000 easy. Now, on a normal, without a large project like that, you can start off hmm, anywhere. First year, you should easily be able to make your franchise fees. You should easily be able to make your whole overhead of what you spent out to buy into the franchise. And as we all know, in the first year, if you make what you put down, you're in the right path. The
okay,
put down to buy your vehicle, to wrap it, to get all the equipment needed, pressurized tanks, everything comes out to 79,000.
that's entire franchise fee up front, or is that all equipment, or is that the same thing?
Equipment, van, wrap, everything racks, training obviously is included, marketing, all that. Whatever's in my head is transferred to them.
$79,000.
Yes, sir.
And then ongoing, what do the franchise fees look like?
7% royalties
Say it
off the
again.
gross revenue. 7% royalties.
Got it. Okay. And then that 7% royalty, does any of that royalty go towards, and I'm only like throwing it out there because my understanding of how some other franchises work, so I'm asking, does some of that
Yes, sir.
go to like a brand marketing? Does that, some
Yes,
of that go to like what is that essentially, if anything, does it go to that they would want to be concerned about or know about?
7%, the 2% plus two on top of the seven goes towards advertising. So you pay 7% monthly off your gross revenue royalties, and then 2% added on top of that for advertisement, corporate advertisement.
So
That
9%.
would be 9%.
9%. Two of that goes to advertising, which you handle. Is that right?
I can teach them how to handle it too if they're computer savvy.
I guess what I'm
We
asking is the 2% for marketing, does that get kicked up to you as the,
It gets kicked up to me. I throw it back into the marketing. I throw it back into Google ads.
so
I
you
don't
do the
throw it into
marketing
any.
with that ad spend is what I'm saying.
Correct.
Not them. Right. Okay. Um okay. Got it. That and then somebody just asked how many, well Joshua asked, I can say who I have their name. How many franchises are there? Can you just touch on that one more time where you're at right now?
One franchise sold. I just started doing it at the middle of 2020. One franchise sold with two corporate locations. One more is pending to open. Corporate next year, two more corporate. So a total of, I'd say, five corporate. By the middle of next year is going to be open with, as of right now, one franchise sold. But I'm I'm picky because I want to find like-minded individuals. I've had to decline some people because they wanted to think it was a passive business, and it's not that.
No, for sure. You need
You have to
successful
be
business
active.
owners to represent your brand, like
Yeah,
successful people.
because
Yeah.
you want, because it can be a brand catastrophe. You sign up too many people that are just bottom tiers, you're just going to crash. You're not
So,
going to succeed.
what do you see? Or, well, first and foremost, you have two corporate stores, you've sold one franchise. Anybody considering wanting to get a franchise is going to say, well, you know, how my franchise that I might purchase, and hypothetically, The way I can get an understanding of its value and what it's going to do would be kind of based on your corporate stores. So if your corporate stores are doing $1 million a year and they're netting 200,000, then to me that's a benchmark to say, well, if I do as well as your corporate store, that's where I'm going to be. If I do better or if I do worse, I get a range. Are your corporate store numbers anything you share with like publicly or with a potential franchise?
I would I would share it privately, definitely. I've
Okay.
got profit loss statements and everything. I don't want to just throw it out there to the internet.
Okay. So, I mean, just want to, right, put that out there that if somebody did want to know how your stores are doing, numbers wise, you could say that privately. Now, my only question to you would be this, and I'm just curious, how do you think sharing that publicly could work against you?
Because expectations in the franchise world, if somebody buys a franchise and they don't make what I said, then they can turn around and sue me. So because they say, "Oh, well, you said you make that much."
But if you say it privately or you say it here and you set that same pace of like, this is not typical results. This is just simply my corporate store. This is what it did, and it's not to be used for whatever. I'm saying whether we were talking privately or we were talking publicly, that same, if that
I
is the
also get a
worry, the
feel.
same thing could happen.
I also get a feel for the candidate person.
Okay,
You know,
fair enough.
that-
I was just wondering how that could work against you. I'm curious. I'm not trying to put you on the spot. I'm more wondering how you think like because to me, if I have a business and it did $1 million and I netted 300, and then I open another one and that one does 800 and I netted 220, and I'm trying to sell, hey, I can sell you my plan for how I did my business. I can sell that to you so you'll be your own owner of a business. To me, that would be like my number one selling point is look, in my first year I did 800 and I netted 220. Of course, it's a business. You could do zero and net zero too. That would be the other extreme. But to me, I just feel like that's the number one selling point is ultimately with a business, people want to know how much am I going to make? Am I going to make, is it a smoothie place? I'm going to make 30,000 a year. Is it a, like, and that's kind of based on like, well, how successful have you been? Because they're buying, like you said, your success, your knowledge, you're transferring it from your head into their business.
Mhm.
But I don't want to put you on the
Well,
spot. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just saying to me that would be an asset. Why do you think it would work against you?
you can make anywhere from 80, which would have made the first year, and it was actually just half a year, and it can go all the way up to 420.
That's a range. Okay. And then team wise, what would somebody expect? You mentioned it's a home based business, so there's no overhead. Is that owner operator to accomplish that, or is that owner operator plus installers, or what do you think that looks like on an average? What should it look like?
Well, I mean, you can have a couple of installers to make it quicker, but then again, you got to have the cash flow to see how many projects are coming in and what's being paid out. To start it off, you want to start off as the owner to get more involved, to get more feel with the customers, to get the reputation built, because it's at the end of the day, it's your company. It's not the employees. So you want to build your reputation, and then after that, you can hire some fellows, some glass cleaners, and then you can hire a couple of installers and move from there. Maybe 2 years, 3 years down the line, you'll have five installers. That's to be determined on per franchise and how they're operating over there. Is there a lot of work out there? Yeah, of course. Because if you get in your car and you drive down the road, over 80% of the buildings are not tinted. There's a lot of revenue out there with flat glass, a lot.
No doubt.
Car tinting, there's every corner you turn, you see they're washing cars and they say car tinting. So there's a lot of car tinting place, and plus the overhead on car tinting is astronomical. And how many cars you have to do a day, also the overhead, rent, utilities, workers' comp, all the other extra
You need workers
expenses.
comp for the flat glass too, though. Don't forget.
Yeah,
No,
but at
not
the same,
yeah. You completely need workers comp. It's no cheaper for you
yeah,
because they're
I
going to
know that,
somebody's home. It's probably
I
more
know that.
because of the ladders and the scaffolding and so on, and the
Yeah, I'd say
driving
like
and the. I'm just
70,
saying.
80% of the jobs here in Atlanta, at least I can only speak for Atlanta, or ground level. So it's not like maybe you get on the step ladder, nothing
No, no,
crazy.
no, I get it, but the workers' comp part of it, like it's a percentage of your payroll, so it is what it is, whether they be in your shop, and then your liability is probably going to go up. That's a good reason not to post pictures of scaffolding on your website because insurances do check your website. They see you on scaffolding. It's
Smart move.
not the best thing in the world. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All
Only
right.
take pictures of your project completed, not people on the project. Only the glass. That's what consumers care about. They don't care what you're on.
So let's talk about okay, somebody's interested. 79,000. First question. Do they have to have it all up front?
SBA approved. We have SBA approved loans through the Small Business Administration, third party lending. You don't have to have it all up front. You can get a credit line if your credit is above 700.
Okay, so there's financing options that are kind of outside. There's no internal financing option now, but you can get a small business loan, and obviously there's other ways to get loans. Um,
Private lenders. I've
sure.
got private lenders too.
Okay, so $79,000. So I come to you, I say, Nick, I'm ready. Here's my $79,000. Tell me what happens next, and kind of if you could start from that point, and let's end up at the end of the first year. What happens after you got it in your account? What happens next?
Okay, we have Discovery Day. That's before it hits the account. We have Discovery Day. You come, we go on job sites. You live in the life of absolute sunblock. How we wake up, how we go to work, how we close deals, what we do throughout the whole day to be in the shoes of the actual owner. And that's how your day starts off. After that, you see what you saw, then you get on-site training. You have to pass tests, written tests to make sure you have the knowledge down pat from the 365-page operation manual. You have to make sure you know that stuff,
I feel like that
because
365 page manual is intended obviously to teach somebody, but also it can weed out just about all the people who aren't serious because you hit me with 365 pages.
I mean, but it also tells you where to get an EIN from, how to get it, which
I hear you.
website,
It's thorough.
where to register your company. I'm talking about if you have zero knowledge about a business, this thing will tell you everything. It just doesn't have 365 pages of absolute sunblock. That's insane. Oh, of course
I get
not.
it. I get it. Joshua asked, when did this business start? So you could remind me.
And it was established in the middle of 2014.
2014. Okay. And then the franchising started mid 2020, right?
Correct.
Got it. Okay, so discovery period, go on the jobs with you, make sure that expectations are correct from the new franchise owner, potential franchise owner, and that they're a good fit for Absolute Sunblock. Once that's established, what happens next?
After that, contract signing. After contract signing, the money comes over. After the money comes over, you start getting trained on site, on job sites, not just, a couple of glass panes in an office and that's it. No, you go to different, because as you know, there's different types of glass panes you can deal with. The wood frames, the ones that have paint over the gaskets at residential, the commercial panes, single panes, film on glass, the glass where it's not held in all the way by the frame and it's kind of hanging off the side, and you got to remove film. So you get a bunch of training from different aspects to know that, hey, I've worked out every possible scenario. So you have more knowledge. And then during your free time, of course, read up about window films, how it can benefit, so you can pass that knowledge over to the consumer, because knowledge is power.
That's what
And
they're buying. They're
customers can
buying the
see that.
expert, basically. They're buying the expert to come in and advise them and install something. Let's pause there real quick. A couple, Window Film Depot and James had asked, James Pirtle, I don't know if I pronounced that right. What film brand? I know you said you use Global. Would all your franchises also use Global? Do they pick their own film? How does that work?
No, we go with proven reputation in the market. I've been dealing with 6.5 years, close to 7 years with Global Films. I've had 22 square feet go bad, over 350,000 square feet of glass.
Clear.
So when you only have 22 square feet go bad, you don't, if it's not broke, don't try to fix it. If I had multiple film failures and I'm losing money and losing time, yeah, of course I'm going to look elsewhere. But when something's not broke, I'm not looking to fix it. I'm looking to pass that proven product to the franchisee. I don't want them to go get some other product and then they have problems and then they come bark down my throat. You know, hey, you told me. I'm going to tell you what works.
It also keeps the it also keeps the um, marketing consistent because Absolute Sunblock as a brand, you know, as it grows throughout the country, if everybody's using different films, I can imagine that would be impossible to market. Like
No,
there'd
no,
be no
you will
consistency.
know
The
what to
website would
market.
have everything.
Yeah, you will know what to market. You have one web page that has like
Everything.
15 brands. And it's just
Right.
like, what brand does this guy carry? So
Okay.
no, just one brand, Rocket Solo. We only sell ceramic coated products. We don't sell regular dual reflective films. It's either ceramic coated products and a lot of the silver,
You don't
the
sell
high.
dual reflective?
That's what I'm saying. Dual reflective, but the ceramic version
Okay.
from Global. They have the ceramic version. It's a 2-ply thickness film. I mean, it's a 2 mil thickness film, and it's real easy to work with, like simple easy. It's good. If you mess this film up, put a wrinkle in it, you're just not for flat glass. You know, it's very hard to wrinkle, easy to work with, great product, and the failure rate on the ceramic zero. Zero customers has ever come back to say it's got a problem.
And Window Film Depot asked, "What are the ongoing royalties?" I remember the answer to that question: 79,000 upfront, 7% per year off of gross, and then there's an additional 2% that goes to marketing. So 9% in total in
It's a,
royalties.
it's all on the website. It's all on
On
the
the
website.
website. The
It's
website's absolutesunblock.com.
correct.
It's also in the comments or in the description below this post. It's linked up there as well.
Okay.
So, all right, let's jump back into Nick is from Georgia by Atlanta, Marietta. Let's jump back into tell me along that process. What's next in the new franchisee owners process?
After getting trained, and while you're getting trained, we're also opening up the online locations so we can establish your location online. We also start pre-booking jobs before you open. So when you open and you're ready to open, you already have jobs lined up, estimates lined up to go to.
When you say we're pre-booking before, is that the new business owner? Is that you? Is that a team effort?
I'm pre-booking it for them while they're getting trained with me, seeing how it works.
Got it.
Absolute Sunblock has a call center number. You dial up the call center. It tells you to press 1 for one location, 2 for another, 3 for another, 4 for another. And once they press that prompt, then it goes to whichever phone it's linked to, and you pick it up and talk to them. That's more training they get.
How long is
How to
that training
close
process?
it's the training. Of course, it depends on the individual how good their hands are when it comes to applying the films and making the cuts. I would say anywhere from at least 2 weeks to up to 4 weeks.
Okay. And then after training is over, you transition to them now taking those calls, booking those jobs, and installing the film.
They do the install of the film after the training.
What
Once
kind
they've graduated the training and they're done with that, they're out on their own. They already have their vehicle wrapped. They're ready to go.
and what like let's say I'm day 32. What is the normal kind of expectation for support one would expect? Because we did about a month's training. Now I'm on my own. When do me and you interact, if ever, from there on out?
You call me anytime, 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. You're talking to the CEO that actually has field knowledge. You talk to the guy that does the work. I don't just sit back in the office, answer some phone calls, and that's it. I've got the experience. And every day, as we all know, we live and learn. Nobody's perfect. We all try to achieve perfection, but nobody's perfect. But I'm there for them. My goal is for my franchisees to make money. It's not just to take your 30,000 and put it in my pocket and call it a day. No, no. My goal is for them to make as much money as possible. and I will teach them ways how to make as much money as possible, but I can't teach them how to run for it. They either want to run or they don't want to run. Like one franchisee told me, I said, look, what would satisfy you to make in 1 week? You know what he told me? 2,000. I said, I'm sorry, sir. This business is not for you. It's just not, because my mentality is once he makes it 2,000, what happens after?
He'll want
Calls come
3,000.
through.
Natural human instinct. What if his expectations are, hey, I'm used to making 40. My dream would be to make 100. That's 2,000 a week. That's my answer. I just disqualified myself because I didn't know that it was possible to make 4,000 a week. Do you know what I mean?
But will I give you an example of how much one job makes before I asked you that? Because you asked me, hey, how much can I make off one job? And I tell you, average job is approximately 2,000.
I get you. I guess it just comes down to how much context that new person has. How long the job takes would be one of those things. If it takes, a $2,000 job doesn't make you 2,000 in profit. I didn't know if you meant net or if you meant like gross. That would be 3 jobs. If those 3 jobs take 3 days each, I'm just saying. I get what you're saying. You're looking for people who are ambitious with a drive to go out and do great, and that's what you're trying to enable with this franchise, right?
The business can only be as successful as the owner is.
Okay. So have you seen? I can't think of any franchises within the tint industry except for Tint World, which flat glass is probably the most tiny part of any of their businesses, if they even do flat glass. Some of them.
They do flat glass. They do flat glass.
Okay, so but I did say it's a small amount of overall Tint World's franchises combined.
Yeah. Their prices aren't that great, but it doesn't. I've came across them on quite a few projects. Didn't matter. I closed the deals, but their prices are like, wow, like how are you making money? But regardless, again, we go back to the basics of absolute sunblock. We minimize our expenses to maximize our profits. So even if we're at a lower price point, and then because we don't have the brick and mortar. So even we sell at a lower price point, competition's at a higher price point. We don't have the overhead. So our profit margins are pretty much the same. If not, ours is better because we don't have that extra overhead they have.
Oh no, I hear you there, and I'm not trying to compare. What I'm getting at is like I can't think of many franchises in the tint world. I know there's like Fast Tint and there's Tint World, but I can't think of another franchise. I can't think of one that's solely residential commercial for sure. My question to you, I guess, is there any that I'm missing? And if not, why do you think there hasn't been one yet? Do you think it's simply because nobody's got around to it, or?
Most people that do architectural glass do it because they do automotive and they also offer that. If you get online and you see the architectural glass, like here in Atlanta, there's 5 that only do flat glass. 5. And a population of over 5 million in Atlanta. So we only have 5 people that just do flat glass, but all the other ones that do flat glass are also automotive. So they're brick and mortar. And then we go back to what you just said, the tint world. Well, they are a brick and mortar. They do offer that. But this is the only proven business model in the industry. It's just not a concept. It's a proven business model that's home based. It's the only. And the proof is in the pudding. Get online and look at Absolute Sunblock. You tell me what's up.
I'm just reading through the comments. Um, Mike Burke asked, where do they leave a Google review? Do the stores have a Google My Business page? I would imagine you can hide the address and set the service area for flat glass. It's typically
Yeah, I do all that for them. I do all that for them.
And then
I open up their Google pages. I open all their online platforms up. When they're ready to open, they have email to them, passwords to each profile online, social media, but everything's already hooked up.
And as far as the franchise goes, if somebody was like, all right, this sounds interesting, but I need to learn more about it, it's definitely on your website, absolutesunblock.com, right? Like that's the best
Mhm.
place to learn
You
about.
can click on franchise opportunities. It tells you about the business. It gives you a little bit more information about it. Then it's got an online questionnaire. You answer the questions, press submit, It comes directly to the email. Then we schedule from there to talk over the phone, answer any other questions or concerns you may have, or more knowledge that you want to learn about the business.
Okay. And you mentioned earlier how much you value ongoing knowledge and so on. Are you going to be at the Tint Off in Orlando by chance?
I'm going to try my best, bro. I've got a lot of jobs lined up. I'd love to be there, but company staying busy. It's hot here in Atlanta. It's smoking hot. Like I just worked 2 days the other day. One job, both jobs brought in gross revenue of 6,700. Cost of product was a little bit over 800 bucks. So working 2 days, making close to 5,900, 58, subtract the gas and food costs. Not a lot of people make that kind of money in 2 days. And right now I'm booked up all the way until February 10th. I'm not
February.
February. I'm sorry, June 10th.
All right. I was
February
going
is
to
all
say,
good.
that's fucking incredible.
No, no, bro. Maybe I'll get there one day, but right now it's booked until June 10th. And after June 10th, um, we'll see what happens. There's quotes out there, and we'll see. I try to close them all. That's my goal. Absolute Sunblock also has a closing rate of 74.6%.
Okay. Um, if you're booked till June 10th, I don't imagine you're going to be able to make it June 7th through the 9th to Orlando. Just
I
saying.
love it.
It
I love
sounds like a pretty
Chris
solid no.
down there too. When I spoke with you the other day, you wanted me to be. I love to be down there. Don't get me
All right, no,
wrong,
no,
but
fair, fair. But
money makes.
here's where I think I can get you. Since June, you're booked up till June 10th. Right now, that means you are not booked on June 12th and 13th, which means you could travel to Houston, come to the Tinter battles, and have a
The
grand old
12th.
time, meet a lot of Tinters. Who knows what happens? It's a great networking
The
opportunity.
only reason I'm not booking right now further out is June 12th
And
through the 19th. I'm going to be in Santa Rosa Beach.
all right, so hard no there as well.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Santa Rosa Beach trying to enjoy life a little bit.
Okay,
Work hard, you got to play hard. You just can't always work.
fair. Hopefully next year.
That's the only days off I get, honestly. At one every year, just those 7 days off. Every other time, it's 7 days a week, just straight working. Now, on the weekends, if you want to spend time with your family, you can tell, the client, hey, I'm booked, but you can still answer phone calls
Right, right,
to close more quotes to keep the business flowing.
right, right. One of the comments, George, how are you, brother? He said, I think, what's the opinions for the tint off? It's peak season. And like he said about the cost to attend, you're willing to lose money just for a trophy and a big check and pay taxes on $10,000. So he's saying the 10,000 victory. I do want to just say, like, I definitely know some people are there to compete and hopefully win and hopefully even win $10,000. But I feel like the majority of the people are not going there to compete or for bragging rights. Of course, they're losing out on the income from those couple days, no doubt about it. But I think the bigger picture is you're going there to network, you're going there to learn, to be educated, to meet people, and of course, potentially maybe even have a good time. But I don't think that everybody's going there with a trophy. I've been there, I think, the last 6 or 7 years. I never once went with the intention to win a trophy, but I did enjoy every single time. So I just hope that we'll see you next year there. Um, and I just don't want to minimize it down to a trophy because it's really the trophy to me is kind of not even the biggest part of the event. But anyway, franchise wise, let's get back in there. Absolute Sunblock. Is there anything else we haven't really discussed or touched on about the franchise that you think people would want to know or should know?
We we step out from the competition. We step out because we have a customer centric business model. The whole business model is centralized around the customer to make it as easy, convenient, professional, clean, follow ups to make sure the customer is happy. And it doesn't stop. It does not stop. It never stops. Holidays come around. Think about those customers that made your Christmas better. Hey, send them a Christmas card too. So it just never stops. Absolute Sunblock doesn't forget about their customers.
Got it. Okay. Well, I think it's very interesting. I think you're pioneering something definitely brand new. It's pioneering it. Never seen a flat glass franchise. The industry in general doesn't have many franchises or anything too notable other than what we already discussed. And I really applaud you for doing that and paving the way for yourself, for other potential owners, and the industry as a whole. So keep up
Yep.
the good work. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing, reaching out, and I hope we get to meet in person sometime very soon.
Definitely. If you ever come to Atlanta, give me a buzz.
Absolutely. Absolute
Where are you
Sunblock. Say again?
Where are you based out of now?
I'm in Palm Springs.
Palm Springs.
I have family in Florida, so I travel to Florida once or twice a year. This year it'll be for the tint off, and then a little time around it. And but George is just a stone's throw away. I've been to Atlanta many times, so I'm sure I'll find myself back there.
Hey, next time you come, make sure you give me a buzz and we'll catch up. Go out, grab some good food, and sit down and chit chat.
I look forward to it, and I hope we'll do this again soon too.
Anytime. I'm just a phone call away.
All right, cool. Thank you, Nick, for sharing your business and what you have planned. And if anybody's interested, absolutesunblock.com is the best way to find out more information, and the link is in the description. Um, Nick, before I let you go, I'll take 1 minute of your time just for something unrelated. This is the last like weekly Wednesday Tint Wisdom. There will definitely be other Tint Wisdoms, and they potentially could be on a Wednesday, but there won't be one next Wednesday, and there's not going to be that consistent Wednesday. This is the last one of those, at least for now. So there's going to be kind of some new things coming to the show, some new days and times, some new format to the show. So hang tight, and I'll see you all at the Tint Off or virtually at the Tint Off and Tinter Battles as well. So, Nick, last thing, even so you can't attend the Tinter Battles, it will be streamed. So you could go to Tintertainment's Facebook page or their website. You're going to be able to watch, I think, the whole event live. So I hope you do. And thank you again, Nick. Thank you for everybody for
Yeah, I
watching.
was unaware of the you can watch it live. I'll definitely do that.
Cool. Yeah, everybody should know. You should watch it live. You can interact. Myself and Bob Bruder from Coolview are like hosts, and you're gonna have like a full view of the whole event live with commentary. So if you're not able to make it out there, you should definitely watch it live. And if there is a chance that anybody can make it out there, it's completely free to attend. It's in Houston, Texas, June 12th and 13th. It's a Saturday and Sunday, and you can get your tickets on tintertainment.com. Thank you, everyone, and
All
thank
right.
you, Nick.
Thank you as well.
All right,
It's
have a
been a
great
pleasure.
evening.
You too. Bye bye.
Bye bye.